All right, well, thank you for joining. We've got Carlee Modra here with us today. Hi, Carlee.
Hey, how you going?
Good. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Pleasure.
So a few questions I've got for you. How long have you been a wellness advocate with doTERRA?
So I bought my kit mid-September 2015 and with the intention of doing the business, but I just said to Tara, I'll just take it easy and see how I go. And then after about 3 days of watching like training 24/7, I was all in and started building 1st of October that year.
Yep. And you hit Premier in your first 3 months, didn't you?
I hit Elite. So I hit Elite in October and then Premier in November.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So what is your current rank?
Diamond.
Oh, amazing. And you totally just skipped platinum.
Yeah, I did.
Well done.
Funny because I always felt like that was how it was going to be. So, yeah, I went from gold to platinum.
Yeah, that's awesome. How many in-person classes have you hosted?
I was trying to think about this, and honestly, I don't know, because I did Diamond Club in 2016. I went from Premier to Gold in Diamond Club that year, and I don't know, like I would say maybe around 100. A lot of the classes I've done, though, have been for my team. I've actually personally built my business more with one-on-ones.
Yeah, awesome. So did you have a big online following when you started, and has your business come from online networking along the way, or how do you feel it's grown?
I wouldn't say I had a big following. I had a following, and for a lot of those people, they've kind of followed my journey over maybe 5 or 6 years, and it changed a lot along the way. So a lot of them were people I already knew anyway. And so what started out as just kind of a health and wellness blog, and then went into more spirituality, and they've kind of done the journey with me. But I never really I didn't focus hugely on growing my online presence in the beginning, because what I found was working. I was sharing a bit online, but it was in-person stuff. Like, you can't beat having a conversation with someone.
Yeah.
Like, you can connect with people online, but I pretty much built my business just talking to people, and some of them have come through online. And I had a bit of an email list. So when I was like emailing out to people, a few came through that. But the majority of people came from in person.
Awesome. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So out of the people that you do get online, what has been your most successful online platform?
Well, I've always really just used Facebook, but I've actually just started really dipping my toe into Instagram. And Instagram stories like that, I just find that is so powerful. I think people love video, and people love seeing into your life. That's what I think it is. Like, on stories, you show things that you probably wouldn't post normally on, something that's going to sit on your feed forever. But it builds that connection, I think, because people really start to see behind the scenes a bit of your life and how normal it is, I guess. Yeah. It's not just such a highlight reel, I guess, which can often happen unwittingly when we're just on our Instagram and Facebook feeds, I think.
Absolutely. It's a world Instagram, isn't it? A whole new world.
It is. Yeah.
So how do you feel you bring in your new enrollments? Is that, as you're saying, from having those one-on-one conversations?
Yeah, like I've just found, I guess, the tactic, if you can call it that, for me has always been just organising like coffee catch-ups with people, or just catching up with my friends. And it doesn't necessarily, I don't know, there's something around the energy of just getting out there and talking to people, even if it wasn't necessarily that person who I was out with. I could often come home and there'd be a message from someone else saying, hey, I'm really interested in finding out about these oils. But oftentimes it would be the person I'd be catching up with, because when you're having that conversation and it's inevitable that something's going to come up, like when you're with mum, something's going to come up about the kids. When if they don't have kids, they're talking about, they're tired or they're stressed or whatever. I barely find a situation where there isn't an opportunity to say, hey, I've got some oils if you want to try them. And I never do that on the first time if I've just met someone. It was really interesting because when we're traveling around Australia, you'd meet so many people in caravan parks, and there would be sometimes it'd like be a first instance they've like been bitten by something, or and it'd be like, hey, I've got some tea tree, just put this on. But otherwise it would be, you would have conversations in the caravan parks like several times before anything would ever get mentioned. And I met a lot of people that way. And interestingly, people who are traveling want something. They want something to take with them that can support them on their travels. So that was pretty powerful as well.
Absolutely. So how do you find people to join you to do this business?
I think right from the start, because I knew that I was doing this as a business, I was guided into doTERRA, even though I had resistance around it. Like my soul was going, you have to go here, you have to go here. And I was like, no. But I dabbled in network marketing before, and I used to, back, probably, so it's Piper, she's nearly 9. So like 9 years ago, I was in Nutrimetics. Party plan. But I guess in some ways it's helped me. In other ways, I think it's created some blocks just because of some of the training and stuff we received. But anyway, so I had an idea of how it worked. I wasn't completely clueless coming into this. So one of the first things I started looking at was the compensation plan. It did take me still a while to figure it out, but I knew that if I was to be successful in this business, I need other people to come along with me. Like this wasn't something that I could do on my own. So right from the start, I knew that I was wanting to attract in people who wanted to do the business. And my very first enrollment is one of the golds in my team. So she started building straight away with me. And in that first week, I think I enrolled 5 people, and 3 of them said they wanted to do the business, and 2 of them have stuck around. 1 didn't, but that was enough to get that momentum, which is why I hit elite in that first month, because it wasn't just on my enrollments. I enrolled someone who started enrolling straight away as well. So that was how I hit elite. And actually the two of them, they started enrolling in that same month. So that's how that volume came in. Like I didn't bring in 3,000 OV of volume. And then in the next month, I had 3 legs, but I also, there was a third builder as well that came in. So I was lucky, I guess. I don't know if it's luck or it was manifesting or what, but I knew I set the intention that that's what I wanted. I set the intention I wanted 3 builders right from the start, because I looked at the plan. I'm like, right, I need 3 people. I need 3 legs. And so that's what happened. And so I hit Premier in the second month. Again, that was not all my doing. I maybe enrolled 5 or 6 people, but I had people in my team who were also enrolling, which is important.
Very important. Such a really beautiful journey you've had, and that you've created your business with doTERRA, Carlee. I think it's beautiful. Bringing people along is so good, isn't it? It's such a beautiful.
It's the best. And I think, I've always had the vision that of what this could create, not just for my family, but for other people. And I think because I'm so passionate and strong in my convictions about that, I attract in people who also see that. So I'm not a high enroller. I'm one of those people who don't enroll a lot of people. But the people that I have enrolled, I've enrolled a lot of builders because that's how I came in. not all of them have started building straight away, but many have. Like I've enrolled a lot of people that are like, yep, I want to do this. And they've stuck around and actually done it. So
just throwing you out a little bit, but what do you feel has allowed you to get their interest in wanting to do the business with you?
Again, I think it's because I have been so clear in my belief around the business, and I've never had a hang up about talking to people about the business. Like I've spoken to people and they're like, oh, I'm too scared to talk to people about the business. That wasn't me. Like I was like, bang, this is amazing. Like seriously, you need to be doing this. Because I could just see it, even when, I wasn't, you're not making thousands of dollars a month at Elite and Premier, but I treated my business like I was, and because I knew it was coming. And so I never had that, oh, well, I'm only Elite, I can't really talk to people about that. Or I'm only Elite, I can't teach people about the business. Straight away, I went into business training. I was still getting my head around business myself, but I guess like my brain works like that. So straight away, I was like teaching the people who I was enrolling about the business. And I was only, a couple of weeks ahead of them, but I had just literally absorbed so much training when I first started. I was like, oh yeah, I knew it in a not necessarily from experience. I hadn't necessarily experienced it all, but I knew what I knew what was being taught, and this is what I then just passed on. So, and then the experience came with time as, we did more classes and, more one-on-ones. It's totally a learn on the job business, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is, totally. And something you said there was something that I totally 100% can agree with you, is that if you don't understand the business, you can't really get people on board. But if you understand it, you 100% understand the business, you can absolutely speak highly and know how amazing it is. And same thing along the way. I've found anyone who hasn't, really not sure, it's because they just don't actually understand. They don't understand it quite yet, and they need to get that clear. So
I agree.
Really true. When you know the business,
you do, then you can talk about it with confidence. Like I tell my team this all the time. I'm like, you need to understand the compensation plan. You need to understand the nuts and bolts of how this business works. Because if you don't know that, how can you talk to people about it? Like that's one of the things my husband says is like, I just, it hasn't inspired him enough to actually watch the trainings, but he's like, oh, I need to learn more about how the business works, because then when people ask him, he's always talking to people about the oils, but he just handballs them to me, which is fine. But he's like, because I can't talk about it because I don't know how everything works properly yet. And so it's true. I think when you people feel that energy, if you're unsure, what do they say? Like your energy speaks louder than your words. So when you walk into a room, people are reading your energy before you even know it. Their energy is reading your energy before they even know it. So if we have anything, it's like if we have blocks around certain things, then that's always going to show up in our business. So it's just the same, I think. You're muted. Oh, yeah. Okay, cool.
There's a screaming child in the back.
Oh, okay. No.
Energy is absolutely everything, isn't it? And people do definitely know when you walk in a class how you're feeling, and you even sense it yourself when you go to a class, like, oh, okay, this is a bit awkward, or this has been fantastic.
Totally. And you can feel it as soon as you walk in a room, can't you? When you do a class, you can feel when people are receptive. It's like straight away, and then you can feel when they're like, what is this, and that's the same. It's the same when we feel confident about something, people are automatically, you're like a magnet, I think, when you're feeling that.
Yeah, awesome, fantastic. A question I had was, when you talk to people and your main thing you're saying with people enrolling is one-on-one in person, how have you converted them wanting a tea tree or a lavender into actually getting the kits?
Again, I think because I so fully believe that they're the best value for money. And because I think when you start on a kit, definitely helps with that. Like, I think when you start your business without buying a kit, it can make it a bit harder, because if you didn't see that value right from the start too, you kind of empathize with where they're at. Whereas I'm just like, no, why would you want to pay $35 and only buy 2 oils when you can, like, yes. And I teach it from the space of, this is an investment. Like, when you look at it from cents per drop, it is so cost effective. And, I do empathize if it is a situation where people are like, look, I actually just don't have the money for it. When they're, can be completely honest. And some people won't tell you, but that there's a good reason why they just can't do it at the moment. And that's fine. There's some situations where that is the case, but 99% of the time, it is not true that people don't have the money for it. It's just that it's not a priority and they haven't seen the value yet. Now, when I bought my kit, things were really tight for us financially then, and I'm pretty sure we had about $500 in our savings account, and the Home Essentials kit was $330. So husband wasn't overly impressed when I said I wanted to spend this money on essential oils, but I'm like, I know this is it. Like, trust me on this.
Yeah.
And I think that was another reason why my business grew pretty fast, because I was like, holy shit, I've got to make this work. Otherwise, I'm going to be in trouble because, I had dabbled in lots of things before and never really found what I was passionate about. Never really found that thing that really lit me up. And all of it I got amazing experience from, but not necessarily any success financially from it. So he was very hesitant. And but I was like, you just got to trust me. You have to trust me on these essential oils. This is going to be it. Trust me. I couldn't explain it. It was just a feeling. And so, and I have seen people who don't necessarily have the money for it. Like, they're really budgeting, but they see the value. That's the thing. They're like, I need this in my life. So they're going to find the money for it. And I've seen also people who are very abundant in their wealth go, oh, no, I can't, no, they don't necessarily say they can't afford it, but because they haven't seen the value. And it's not a financial decision. They just haven't yet seen how it's going to benefit them. So that's just more education. I think once you educate people more, then they can see why they would want to invest their money there. So
awesome. Fantastic. So what are your strengths and how do you use them?
I talk a lot. Have you noticed? And I think that's why in person works well for me, and also video, because I communicate best through my mouth as opposed to I can write, but it's not my favorite way of getting a message across. So when I'm with someone, again, it's that energy. People feel that energy. It's contagious. Like, when you believe in something so powerfully, it's hard for someone else not to feel that or not to be inspired and want to come along with that. So I think that is a strength. I've always, leadership for me has always been something that I have just always naturally fallen into. Again, it's not something that I fear. So I stepped into like I said, at Elite, I stepped into a leadership role, just going, I know this is what I need to do. So, and it's just, whereas I know for some people they find that scary. And then I would say strategy. Like, I do have a business brain. I get business. So that's probably another strength that I can use. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So what advice do you have to Carlee that started doTERRA in 2015?
Just keep going. So, there's absolutely times, and for those who have seen my whole journey, there was a good year and a half there where I was on a massive personal development journey, and that's how I kind of went from gold to diamond. And I knew that path was what was unfolding, because I had some of my own shit that I had to clear out in order to grow my container enough to be able to receive being diamond. And that is still a process that I think we're always peeling off more layers and things like that. And yeah, I know there was, I think in that 18 months, I knew always that it was where I was meant to be, but I did have those doubts. Like there was that part of me that wasn't my soul, that was my ego going, well, maybe this just isn't your path. So I would say to Carlee back then, don't listen to your ego. That's what tries to keep us safe, right? So, and keep us from that growth, from that different world than what we know. So yeah, it's just keep listening to our soul and keep trusting that.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Last question. What are your hot tips?
Hot tips is learn the business inside and out. Like really take the time to understand what it is you're doing. Like sharing the oils is just one part of it. And you can't rely on your upline to give you everything. Like be that person that goes and looks for answers yourself. Go, I don't know I don't know the answer for this. Someone in my team actually said, in her business or not a business, but she was a manager in a store, and she would say something like, ask 3 before me, like go to 3 different places to try and find the answer before you come to me and ask for me to give it to you. And so in the beginning, I used to give everyone the answers because I was like, well, I've got them, why not? And I would give them the answer. And then that came very draining very fast. So I had to put some boundaries up around that. And now it's like someone asks me a question, I say, go here or look for it there, Google this, like be that person that goes and finds the answers for themselves. Understand the compensation plan, like really get how that works, and take ownership of your business. This is your business, nobody else's. Yes, it's a collaboration. We're a team. We work together. But from you down, that's yours. Like that's your responsibility. And then from them down, that's their responsibility. It's a very interesting dynamic that we're working with. It's like this is our team that we have to take ownership for, but then we also have to allow our people to take ownership of their teams also. So we're not their bosses, but knowing that what you can, if you want to rank advance, for example, like you have to take ownership of that. Don't go, well, this person needs to do this and this person needs to do that. Yes, it can be a collaboration, but if they're not ready for it, then you've got to be willing to take on that part of the work and go, well, this is my responsibility. So, yeah, I would say that's probably my key things that I find I'm always sharing with my team, and be committed. 100% commitment. Like I think when we are committed to something, the universe supports that. When we're kind of only half in, our results show that as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Carlee.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you.
So it's very inspiring, and I think a lot of us look up to your journey and what you do, and we love it. So thank you so much.
Thank you.